Hello, TCMS. This is Mrs. Martin. Long time no talk. I hope you are all doing well and staying safe during this very difficult time. It was not my plan to start Unit 3 remotely, but life doesn't go as planned. So here we are, starting Unit 3 remotely. I've been doing these videos with Algebra 1 and Pre-Calculus for the past 2 weeks, and it has gone very well, in my opinion. They like being able to pause and rewind and rewatch videos if necessary, and I hope that you will find the videos just as helpful. I've disabled comments here in YouTube for your privacy, so please leave comments in the discussion in Schoology. A simple, I watched the video is fine, but our class would really benefit if you ask questions and help me answer your peers. So please engage in that type of discourse, and feedback on this method of lecture would also be very much appreciated. Let me know how it's going. Let me know if it's helping you. If you need more support, we can get you that support, and we'll continue with lecture in this way moving forward. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I really enjoyed reading your posts about this, about the problem with the yogurt. So you guys did a great job. A lot of you used different methods, and we're going to start today with counting methods without using formulas, which I would say the majority of you used in order to solve the yogurt problem. Okay, so counting methods. As you saw in the slideshow, counting methods is pretty much a branch of mathematics called combinatorics. Okay, and it's a branch of math where we focus on these strategies and these different combinations that we'll see as we move throughout this unit. Okay, so when starting, right now, it's important to understand that order didn't matter in this situation. In other words, it didn't matter if I put Reese's Pieces first or if I put, the fruit first. Obviously, we have our method of putting yogurt, right? You're not going to put the Reese's at the bottom and then the yogurt on top, although some of you might do that. But in the grand scheme of things, order didn't really matter, so we only counted a combination of things one time. So that's important to remember. For today, we are considering the situation where order does not matter. A combination is a combination. Okay, so keep that in mind. In the next, probably not the next set of notes, but the notes after that, we will consider situations where order does matter. So look out for those. Okay, so let's start out with counting without formula. So a lot of you had different methods, and I really like that so many of you were using color and lists. For the most part, in combinatorics and in counting methods, when we're working with these types of combinations, we have pretty much 3 of the following options that I'm going to share with you today. Okay, so as many of you did, we had lists. A lot of people used some sort of combination of lists and multiplication, just to save themselves a little bit of time and energy and space. And then the last one, which I didn't see anybody use, but it's possible that you might have done something similar, and that is called a tree diagram. So we'll be looking at those. And just to be aware, tree diagram is something you will have to produce in your next unit quiz, okay? So let's consider an example. Okay, so here's our example. We're going to a restaurant, which feels a little too soon to be talking about because we can't go to restaurants right now. Okay, so let's talk about this 3-course meal deal. Now I'm going to try and stay very, very color coordinated. We have our appetizers to start out with. Okay, there's always 3 stages of our dinner time. Normally in class, I would have had you guys pick, but since we're not in this setting, I'm going to go ahead and go with some options that I heard from last year's seniors. A lot of people like mozzarella sticks, so let's go ahead and go with that as an option. Okay, you might want to order chips and salsa. And we'll get one more, let's say, what's another good appetizer? Let's be healthy and add salad. Okay, then of course we have our main dish. And we're going to offer steak. And we'll offer a veggie pasta. Have to have our non-meat option. And then let's do something with fish. Let's do salmon. Okay? And just to keep things different, we're actually going to add one more. We'll add ribs to this list here. So we have 4 things available to choose from for our main dish. Okay, and then finally, a meal is not complete without dessert. So we're going to include cheesecake. And we'll give an option of lava cake. So only cake options for dessert at this place. Okay? So this is our 3-course meal deal. And these are the options that we're given. And it's interesting, but throughout your life, you're always using counting methods. You might not talk about them and you might not use the terminology for them, but you're always making choices. You're always making decisions. You're always trying to make combinations for things when you get dressed in the morning, when you go out to eat, when you're selecting things for your combos, if you go out to eat fast food. All these things, even in the future when you start selecting classes for college, these are all methods of combinations that you're making, and it would be nice for you to have these different strategies to list out or to consider all the different combinations that are possible. Okay, so you do this all the time. Let's see how many combinations we can make with these 4 things. Okay, so I'm going to scoot this over a bit. We've got our 3-course meal deal here, okay? We've got appetizers, our main dish, and our dessert. So, as mentioned before, one of our options here is a list, okay? And a lot of you made lists on Schoology in the discussion. Some of you went so far as to use just abbreviations for some of these things, which was cool. So let's kind of do that. Let's start with our mozzarella stick. Okay, so I'm just going to use M for mozzarella. And then I'm going to write S for steak. And then I'll write a C for cheesecake. So there's one combination. I ordered mozzarella sticks, I ordered a steak, and I ordered cheesecake for dessert. Now, instead of having mozzarella steak and cheesecake, I could also have mozzarella steak and lava cake. So that's another option that I have. If I decide I don't want steak, because of one of our students in a discussion discussed how if they went through cheesecake and they went through lava cake, then they have to move on to the next main dish. That was a great explanation of how we're continuing with this. So we could still have mozzarella sticks, but instead of having steak, perhaps we're having the veggie pasta. And with the veggie pasta, we have the choice of cheesecake. And we have the choice of lava cake. And we can continue with this, you know, going through the entire list, which many of you did. I'm going to go through that now quickly, and then I'm going to skip ahead to our next option of solving this problem. All right, and so now that I've created this list that many of you were able to organize in your head or organize on paper and write your own lists, I was able to determine that there are 24 possible combinations for dinner using this 3-course meal deal. Now, a lot of you didn't really like this method. just because it was time consuming. I think it's a great method to have when you're starting out. It's really important that you understand how these combinations are made and what types of combinations are available to you. And as a matter of fact, it's the only way for you to really see exactly what combinations are available besides just having a number, right? So lists are really important. They're easy to make as long as you're staying organized and being careful, and they're very informative. But when time is ticking, it is nice to have some sort of combination of lists and perhaps multiplication. So lists and multiplication, which, as I mentioned before, a lot of you were able to use in Schoology. So I'm just going to copy over part of our list from our first method, from the number one method. So I have all my M's. And since I knew that these were all options for mozzarella sticks, I intuitively understood that these were also options for chips and salsa and also options for salad. So instead of writing the chips and salsa and the salad the way I did in list one, a lot of you just took this and you multiplied by 3 because you said if that's the combinations that you could make for one, then I'm just going to multiply those combinations for the 3 appetizer options. And still you ended up, and remember you had 8 options, right? So 8 times 3, that's still our magical 24. Okay, so a lot of you did it this way, and I thought that was great. It really showed your understanding of how combinations are made. Okay, lastly, we have the tree diagram. So let's make a tree diagram together. Some people love them, some people hate them. I hope that you're the group that loves them. So method 3 is a tree diagram. And again, you will have to recreate one of these on your next unit quiz, so please be aware of that. So here's us. Okay, and we're ready for dinner. And to start out with, you know, our server comes and this person asks us what we would like to start our meal with. In other words, an appetizer. So we've got, I think I started with red. We've got 3 options to start with. So I'm gonna show my 3 options that I get to start with. I've got mozzarella sticks. I've got chips and salsa. And then I've got salad. Okay, those are my 3 options for appetizers. Now, once I pick one of these branches of my tree, so say we decided, okay, we'll take the mozzarella sticks. Then our server asks, what would you like as your main course, as your main dish? And so then we move into blue and we say, okay, well, for our main dish, I've got 4 choices. I've got steak. I've got veggie pasta. I've got salmon. And I've got ribs. Okay, those are my options for mozzarella sticks. And as a matter of fact, those are the options for my chips and salsa and my salad as well. So again, I've got steak, I've got veggie pasta, I've got salmon, and I've got ribs. And again here, steak. Let me scoot this over a little bit so you can see it a little better. Steak, veggie pasta, salmon, ribs. With the tree diagram, it might be important to point out that when we're doing these types of combinations, these groups are independent of each other. Okay, that's really important. They are independent of each other. In other words, if I choose mozzarella sticks, it doesn't only offer me certain choices for my main dish because I picked mozzarella sticks. If I decided against mozzarella sticks and chose salad, it didn't mean that I was offered a different options for my main dish if I chose a salad. No matter what I chose in the red, I had the same opportunities for choice in the blue. So it's very important to note to yourself, these are independent of each other. And we'll talk about independence more later. Okay? The blue does not depend on the red. Okay, and finally that brings us to the green, which is also independent of the choices that were listed above, and that's our cheesecake lava cake. Okay, now for the sake of your time and mine, I'm just going to abbreviate these. Cheesecake lava cake. If I chose steak, if I decided against steak and chose veggie pasta, I still got offered cheesecake lava cake. Same thing with salmon. Same thing with ribs. Same thing with this steak, this veggie pasta, this salmon, or this rib. So it's not like, oh, if I picked salad and steak, I couldn't have a chocolate or a cheesecake, or I couldn't have a lava cake. It didn't matter. Either way, I was given the option to have cheesecake or lava cake. So here's our tree diagram. It is so named because of all of its branches. And now we come back to this question of, well, how many combinations were there? This tree diagram seems to make things a little more complicated. Well, if I look down a branch, so down here to here to here, that was one option. And then I'm going to take this highlight, I'm going to change my color here. And then I'm going to say, well, let's say I did mozzarella steak, and then lava cake. There's my second option. Okay, continuing this way, I can go mozzarella sticks, decided for veggie pasta to cheesecake. And then I'm going to go down the same branch. And I'm going to go to veggie pasta and then to lava cake. So as you notice, each one of the bottom green options ends up counting up the options for us. So instead of doing all these branch things and relisting stuff out, I can count these guys at the bottom, and I still get our magical number 24. Okay, 24 different combinations could be made out of this 3-course meal deal. Okay, so that's pretty much the gist of counting methods without using formulas. If you look through each other's discussions on Schoology, you'll notice that some people, they started using multiplication, which was really exciting because that's one of our principles of counting that we're going to talk about in the next lecture. So keep those in mind. They are very important. They do save lots of time. But for those of you who are enjoying these visuals and those of you who are using lists and color, I think that's a really important strategy as well, because at the end of the day, that's what's actually listing out the combinations that you have possible, not just how many there are, but what those combinations actually look like. So it's important to have both the visuals and the formulas. And I'm glad that all of you are using different methods and different ways of organizing your thoughts as you count through these different combinations. And that takes care of today's lecture. So once again, don't comment here on YouTube. I've disabled comments on YouTube for your safety and to keep your comments out of the public eye. And we're going to keep it to just our Schoology domain. So please leave a comment in our Schoology discussion to let me know that you watched this video. I'm glad that you were able to find this video and tune in, and hopefully it was helpful and you were able to watch it all the way through. Again, any feedback is really helpful for me because I can make the videos better for you and more helpful to you, and that's what the whole point of this is, right? That's our jobs as teachers, to do what we have to do in order to help you guys learn. So whatever you need from me, you let me know. I hope the videos are helpful, and I hope to hear from you soon. When the Zoom meetings come up on your calendar, please try to make an effort to be there. It's not mandatory, but I think it's very helpful for some of us, and it's nice to just talk and see each other or hear each other and see how everyone's doing and check in. But thank you to all of you who have been keeping up with your online assignments, and continue to stay safe, stay home, wash your hands, all that good stuff. And I hope to hear from you soon. Bye bye.